Green. 3, 2, 1, go. Hello, this is the latest episode of the EMG podcast. I'm Greg, the Real Madrid, Cape Town, Chivas Guadalajara, Al Nassr, Sparta Prague manager, and I'm joined by Babajide, the Barcelona Santos, TP Mazembe, Belouizdad, and there's another one. Um, no, that's it actually. Manager.
TP Mazembe.
Hopefully, Neri will.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Neri will join us in the next. During the episode, um, depending on his schedule. So, obviously, we are now match day 24 of the table, the main world table. Obviously, there's 2 games left, but the season ends on Thursday. Obviously, there is a lot still to play for this season. Mainly promotion and titles. I think nobody as of yet has secured promotion or has won a league with 2 games to go, which is pretty unusual. And only one team has actually been relegated, which is Bayern Munich in Division Two. Everyone else in Division One and Division Two still have something to play for currently, and also as well as still spots for SMFA tournaments, as well as the EMG Connect Cups and playoff spots in Division Two and Division Three. So, starting from Division Three, we have a 3-way title race currently at the moment. So we have Chelsea in first, Ajax in second, Juventus third, Palace fourth, Leverkusen fifth, Roma sixth, Manchester United seventh, Leipzig eighth, Leicester ninth, Lille 10th, Sevilla 11th, Monaco 12th, Valencia 13th, and Marseille 14th. Now, there's 3 specific teams there who are battling for automatic promotion and the title. They are Chelsea on 45 points, Vinny's Chelsea, Tom Joseph's Ajax on 44 points, and Moses Alabi's Juventus on 42 points. G-Day, which 2 of those 3 teams do you think are going to get those automatic spots?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the current situation of the league, and it's not an easy picture, but I still think that Chelsea and Juventus still have a chance in the next 2 games to make a turnaround and get an automatic qualification, actually.
Hmm.
I mean, Amazing is a great manager, so I'd still put my money on him to make a turnaround to get an automatic spot instead.
And I think Neri has joined us as well. Neri, which 2 teams do you think out of the 3 that are currently first, second, and third are going to get those automatic spots in Division 3? Obviously, you're managing in Division 3, so you'll know these teams quite well.
I think it's between Juventus and Chelsea. Because with the current form of Ajax, I think if they don't end up winning the league, then they will finish second automatically. So, and the automatic spot now is between Chelsea. If Chelsea can manage to keep their position in the league, although they have been falling recently, they have a bad form. But if they manage to finish well, then it is Chelsea Ajax. But I think Ajax will go automatically. So the competition now is between Chelsea and Juventus. Chelsea not to go to the league, and Ajax Juventus to finish on a very strong feet because they have the momentum and the form.
Interestingly as well, you'll actually be involved in this title race because you play Juventus on the final day of the season. Now, Juve are 3 points ahead behind Chelsea, so obviously they need to not lose the next two games, really. But there is a chance. Obviously, I know you're battling for playoffs, but you could prevent your automatic promotion potentially. Ajax go to Lille on the final day, which should be straightforward win, and then Chelsea host Leicester. Ironically, Vinny being an actual Leicester fan, could be Leicester City could be the ones that stop Vinny getting up. As for the playoffs, we obviously the other three playoff teams as well as Juventus is Palace, Leverkusen, and Roma. Do you think it'll just be that four teams in the playoff now, lads? I mean, realistically, Man United are 3 behind, but everyone else is more than 4 points behind now. Do you think the playoffs are pretty secured?
The playoff position is not secured actually.
Yeah.
I think the only team there that has playoff secured is Juventus. Only Juventus. We have Palace, Leverkusen, and Roma on the same points, and we have Leipzig and Manchester United. Leipzig and Manchester United just 3 and 4 points behind respectively. So the next two games is very crucial. So what happens on Sunday will determine the playoff spots. Because
and obviously
Palace is playing. Who is Palace playing this game? Palace is playing Valencia.
So you've got Spicer on Thursday. Palace have. Palace have Valencia. So that's Joe against Spicer. You've got. That's next Thursday. Tomorrow's games. You've got Roshini tomorrow. It should be a big game for you. Palace have got Ajax, and then Chelsea. Not Chelsea. So the other team, Roma, have got Marseille, which should be a straightforward win. I mean, Marseille are pretty much hapless this season. Gide, do you think the 4 playoff teams are going to be the ones that are the 4 playoff teams next Saturday for the playoffs?
Yeah, I believe so. While I think that United and League could probably make a turnaround, I also feel like they've not been scoring enough goals in recent games, and their performance in the last 6 games compared to the other 4 at the spot right now presently being a little bit below par. So I think Palace, Leverkusen, and AS Roma all on 37 points probably stand a good chance ahead of United and Leipzig.
Yeah, and then obviously there's no relegation in Division 3, so I mean it's irrelevant talking at the bottom. I mean it's Valencia v Marseille for the wooden spoon, last place in the whole main world. But yeah, I think personally, I think Chelsea, and I know Vinny's been saying this. I think Chelsea will come third. I think they might bottle it. They've hit a bit of a rocky road recently, and even though Ajax have also got the same record form-wise, I think Juventus are unbeaten in a while. I think Juventus probably will win the league. Ajax come second, Chelsea come third. Vinny doesn't back himself, so I'm going to probably agree with him and say, they're not. They're going to go in the playoffs, and I think the other 3 playoff teams are set. I mean, all 3 of you win tomorrow, and Man U drop points, and the playoffs are secured, and you can probably rest up. On to the next division, so Division 2, which is the really interesting one. So we'll start from the bottom in this one. Obviously, there is relegation in Division 2. There is Bayern Munich have already been relegated. They've been relegated for a while. Pretty hopeless club this season, bit out of their depth. But there's 3 teams, 3 teams with a chance to stay up. that are in that relegation scrap, but more realistically, 2 of them. Villarreal are on 20 points, Gladbach are on 23, and then Villa are on 25. So Gift needs to win tomorrow. Who who do you think will be the 2 teams from Division 2 that get relegated? Mary, do you want to?
Yeah, I think it's between Villarreal and Gladbach. If we're being honest, if Villarreal win the next game, they will still be out of the relegation zone, no matter what. If they win their next game, they'll be on 26 points, 23 points, which means Gladbach should drop to 13 and they'll come up to 12. And the final game, there's no guarantee that they're going to win 2 games on the roll, and then Gladbach are going to win also. So I think Aston Villa has a actually for the last game of the season. Aston Villa is playing Betis. So if Betis does not win the next game on Sunday, then I think they will just rest their players for the last game of the season, preparation of
Yeah,
the playoff zone, which will give Aston Villa the edge. So all Aston Villa has to do right now is just to secure a draw against Benfica on Sunday, and then that means Villarreal is relegated. So I think it's between Gladbach and Aston Villa to see who stays up. But I think Villarreal is pretty done for.
Gide, do you agree with that? You think Villarreal have gone down pretty much, and it's Gladbach v Villa to
Yeah, I think it's game over already for Villarreal. They practically have nothing to fight for. It's going to take a miracle to avoid relegation. They are depending a lot on results in 2 other games for the next 2 games to not be relegated. So I think that's highly unlikely for it to happen. So they're pretty much done for, and it's goodbye to Division 2 for Villarreal. And like Neri said, I still think Aston Villa has a chance of staying up compared to Mönchengladbach.
Yeah. I think
Villarreal's
Aston
last
Villa have
game of
got.
the season is against Bojan Everton, and Everton US. So I don't think they can win against Everton on the
Villa,
last day. So that's that.
yeah, Villarreal have got Atalanta and Everton in their next 2 games. Atalanta are battling for playoffs, and Everton are obviously battling for the title. It's it's 2 teams also, but are really in pretty good. Well, Everton are in very good form, but Atalanta are also in quite good form. And Villarreal have the second best record out of the 3 that are battling to avoid relegation. But I think compared to Gladbach, who face Bilbao and Inter, Bilbao might be a tough one, but Inter's a winnable game. And then Aston Villa have Benfica and Betis, which are really tough games. However, Betis could. I mean, if JJ wins tomorrow, or even if JJ secured playoffs. So if he doesn't win tomorrow, really, and he has no chance of getting automatic promotion, he's going to rest and rotate for the final game with playoffs in mind. Villa probably will win that then.
Yeah.
They've got to play a rotated Betis second string. Gladbach probably, because the goal difference is only it's only 2 goals between them. There's 2 points. Realistically, I think Gladbach have to get 4 points at least, because I think Villa will draw against at least Benfica or Betis minimum. I think Benfica are in good form, obviously, and they are the hot team in Division 2. And obviously we'll talk about them a bit later. But I think with that chance that Betis could play a rotated team if they have no chance of automatics, it means then that Davian probably will, and Villa will probably at least get a point, probably more against Betis haven't got the strongest amount of depth. this season, it probably means then that he would likely get to 28. In fact, I'd probably say Gladbach probably need to win both their games, and that's going to be, Bilbao are 6, so that'll be tough to go at, way to Athletic Bilbao, who are 6th at the moment on our final playoff spot, and try and get a victory. But without even thinking about having to play, obviously, to get into the game, which Inter sort of had a good run recently, got themselves out of the relegation scrap. But even then, it is a winnable game. Obviously, next one is the playoffs. Now, realistically, there is one playoff spot still up for grabs, which is 6th. And it is realistically a 4-way. There's 5 teams that still commit the playoffs. However, Sociedad are 4 points behind in 10th, and they need everybody else to pretty much not win a single game. And that's probably not going to happen. It's realistically Bilbao on 35, Atalanta on 32, Porto on 32, and Inter on 32. Neri, who do you think is going to come 6th? Do you think it's going to be Bilbao, or do you think it's going to be one of those teams in 7th to 9th?
I don't know. I just want to go through the fixtures and all. But I think Atlanta and Bilbao has easy features for the last game of the season. Bilbao is facing Porto, and Porto are not really in a great form. So if they can manage to win against Porto, then it's a seed. Meanwhile, Atlanta and the second one, Atlanta is facing. Sorry. Atlanta is facing Villarreal, and with the form of Villarreal, I think it's going to be a walkover for Atlanta against Villarreal. Bilbao in a Mönchengladbach, so both teams are playing against relegated sides or almost relegated sides. So whoever wins the next game will determine the players. But if Bilbao manage to win and Atlanta manage to draw, then it is sealed. But I think at the end of the day, I think I'll give it to Bilbao because they have the easiest future out of the two. But anything can still happen.
Who do you think's going to come 6th?
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with Mary with his assessment. I mean, Bilbao is already 3 points ahead. What they have as a disadvantage for them is the goal difference. I mean, a draw in the next game will practically seal the deal for them. So, and they're playing against Bilbao is playing against Mönchengladbach that is also in a relegation zone with very poor record. I mean, they've only had 3 draws in the last 6 games. That's just 3 points in the last 6 games. So it's going to be very difficult. I don't exactly see Mönchengladbach getting away with maximum points against Bilbao tomorrow. And I think tomorrow is going to be the deciding factor. The fixtures tomorrow will be the deciding factor for a lot of teams with points to fight for. And if most teams should fail to
Yeah, I think Bilbao I think Bilbao will come 6th. I think Gladbach tomorrow will be a win, and I think Atalanta will push it to the final day. Porto have got Lyon. Lyon are obviously 2nd at the moment; they're in a title fight, and then Inter have got Betis, another team in a title fight, and then obviously Sociedad, who are the outside shot. They've got to go play Everton. Realistically, all those 3 teams probably will lose tomorrow. If Atalanta wins, which will be favourites to beat Gladbach, then it'll take it into the final day just. And Atalanta do have a better goal difference. Bilbao on 0 goal difference. And obviously Atalanta have got +1. So that could be quite crucial come Thursday night once the season's wrapped up. One thing I will add as well, because of Arsenal winning the cup and qualifying for the Champions Cup because they finished in the top 5 in Division 1, whoever comes 7th will actually play in the Cup Winners' Cup instead of the Cup winner. Because so for 7th to 10th, who all can come 7th, there is something still else to play for if they don't make the playoffs. So it's sort of a bit of a consolation prize. It's obviously if they all get knocked out tomorrow, they will have something at least still to play for. Right. So probably the most anticipated one. The Division 2 title race. Now, this is probably one of the greatest title races in this game world's history. There's 5 teams with 2 games to go, all separated by 1 point. Mary, do you want to start off? Who do you think will come first and second?
First and second, I think it's between Madrid and then Everton, to be honest, because I think Madrid. Jonas game on Sunday is against Bayern, who are already relegated, so they have nothing to fight for basically. So if Madrid should win next game, then I think if Everton is the only threat here realistically, because I know what Everton coach is capable of, and I know Real Betis want to play safe. They want to play safe, and Lyon has been performing so badly recently, and so I think I'll give it to Madrid or Everton, because Everton last game is against Aston Villa, and Aston Villa, Everton last game is against Villarreal, so Villarreal is already relegated, so which is a plus for Everton in their charge for that race, and that's that said, Betis and then Lyon, they have a tough games to end the season. So I think it is between Betis, Madrid and Everton, realistically. So, but anything can happen. You never can tell. So fingers crossed. Though it is a very challenging title race. We have 5 teams and anything can happen. The race will go down to the final day actually. No matter what happens on Sunday. They will be
I don't really want to answer this because I could be accused of bias by people listening to this later on. Obviously, I am in first. I think one team to worry about because they are in red hot form ever since he retook over the club after leaving for about 2 weeks. Benfica. They are unbeaten in 5, 4 wins and a draw. They've sort of really caught up on the other teams, whilst Madrid, Lyon, Everton, and Betis have dropped points. We all take the piss out of Saskid because he's had 1 season outside of Division 2 in 15 seasons. He has a very good chance to sneak and snatch a top 2 spot, even a title this season. A proper smash and grab late run. Benfica beating Everton on Thursday was a huge result. I think if Everton had won that, they would have won the title pretty much because they would have been 2 points ahead of Madrid and Lyon. Would have needed a point tomorrow to pretty much secure promotion based off other results. However, then losing to Benfica has really opened it up, and Benfica could be, look at Lyon. Lyon haven't won before. Madrid have had patchy form, 2 losses and a draw. Obviously, we had a bit of a slip when Dovbyk was injured. Betis haven't won in 5. And I think JJ has had some injuries and he's bought players, but obviously because of the window, they're not going to come in until next season. I think I sort of don't want to write Betis off, but I also want to say I think this is going to be a bit too much for them compared to the other sides, and they don't have the depth. It could be they'll have to take a playoff spot, potentially fifth, and go through the lottery draw of the playoffs. I would say Everton. Everton it's probably between Madrid, Everton, and Benfica. I'm not going to say who wins the title because if I do, somebody will say, "Oh, are you going to say you're going to win the title because it's you manage a club?" Yeah, I'm just going to say it's between one of Madrid, Benfica, or Everton. I think Leon, their form is, and Benfica and Betis's form are just. It's not unless they can win the final two games. Their form is not what they need at this stage of the season. Maybe like a mid-season slump, you could accept 5 games out a win or 4 games out a win, but with 2 games left to play, I mean, Leon are currently second, but they need to win. They haven't won in 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks. The last time Leon won a game, let's double check this now, would have been Leon haven't won a game since Thursday, the 9th of January. Betis haven't won a game since Sunday, the 5th of January. So, they've both sides are nearly close to a month without a victory. So it's I probably would say those two, Leon and Betis, are probably going to be set for playoffs. And it'll be between Everton, Benfica, and Madrid. And then hopefully I don't come third again, because if I come third, I know we're going to lose to probably Bilbao. We lost to Tottenham last year. Right. So, the big one, Division 1. Now, Division 1 has the most to fight for because there's Champions Cup spots go down to 5th, and there is a battle for 5th place, and then there's Challenge Cup spots and a Cup Winners' League spot for coming 10th. And there is actually between 6th place and 10th place, 11th place, there is 5 points separating them, and then all those teams can still qualify for at least the Challenge Cup. Atletico Madrid, Rennes, and Napoli are all, as well as Flamengo as an outside shot. They're all battling for that final Champions Cup spot, and it can go either way. Atletico are the form team, so probably might sneak 5th, which would be something to take from a pretty disappointing season. But relegation. So a bit like the other game worlds, the relegation scraps, they're not really they've been closer before. And I think this season has really shown, especially in Division 1, the quality gap between the top teams, the haves and the have-nots, who are just struggling at the bottom. Tottenham, Lazio, and Milan. No, do you think they're the three are going to go down with 2 games, even with 2 games to go? I mean, there's 4 points separating them to Man City.
Well, I don't know. I don't know actually, because I've not been keeping up with Division 1 this season. But I think Manchester City are not going to lose their next 2 games. So the only way for these guys to escape relegation is if Manchester City fuck up. And Manchester City is playing Tottenham, and they are playing Tottenham and AC Milan in their last game. So basically, it is dog eat dog. So is either Man City slip up and let either one of the 3 clubs in the relegation zone to come up, or they just manage. If Manchester City manage to win their next game, then I think it is settled because Tottenham, Lazio, and AC Milan are going under. So I think the fate of the 12th to 14th position team depends on Manchester City. If they can
Yeah,
pull through, they are they are in a bad form actually. They have just two wins in their last 6 games, and which has three consecutive lost on their record for their that's the streak they are on. Manchester City on three losing streak. So if they can turn it around and get a win or a draw, then I think the relegation zone teams are going to go down the way they are.
yeah. That Milan v Man City game tomorrow is a proper tank bowl type relegation scrap. One thing I will add as well is Dortmund. Dortmund could be a factor in the scrap. Dortmund have had a pretty awful run of form ever since about the halfway point. At one point, Dortmund were up in third, very eerily similar to my Real Madrid a couple of seasons ago when we got relegated and got 3.2 or 3 points in 13 games. Dortmund, Argent's had a similar run, not as bad, but has plummeted down the table. And he's had one win in six, but he has um, since since the since the 1st of December when he beat Barcelona, he has won one, two, three. He's won 3 games. In well, God, let me just count it now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. He's won 3 games out of 17. He's also got 3 draws. Sorry, no, two. Yeah, 3 draws. He's picked up a whopping 9. Was that 12 points out of from his last 17 games? Let me just calculate what that is now. That would be he's got 12 points out of a possible 51. I would, and his only wins have been against Tottenham, Flamengo, and actually one of those wins was an SMFA Cup. He's got Tottenham,
And
Lazio, and Flamengo. I would say,
first one last is Liverpool and Napoli, which is a very very tough game for Dortmund actually. So I think
yeah,
you're right to say Dortmund as they say in the relegation scrap actually.
I would
But
say
the thing
Dortmund.
is, if yeah, if Man City manage to perform very well, then I think they will save Dortmund
Yeah,
because Man
I
City is
think
playing Manchester City is playing Tottenham and AC Milan, I think, in their last 2 games. So if they manage to beat one of those teams, then I think the gap will be too much because the closest team to escaping relegation is Tottenham. So
it's
if Manchester
yeah,
City manage to like beat that team, then I think the chances are very slim because AC Milan and Lazio are also having to face tough teams actually, teams that are in a race for something here.
yeah. And I would probably say actually that Man City will probably snatch 10th at least and take that Cup Winners' Cup spot. So PSG actually are pretty bad form. Probably could miss out on Connect Cup football altogether because they haven't won in the last 6. Probably had a little run just to keep them up at the end of the season. And then as for the most important one, the title race. Now, if we were doing this 3 days ago, we would have had a team that were unbeaten after 23 games against a team that have had a very, very good season, regardless of how much people take the piss out of Fizz. Liverpool have had a very good season. We can't not say that. But also, he has said a lot that he isn't in a title race when he is just, I don't know whether it's to lower expectations or to avoid being trolled. But Arsenal lost match day 23 to Atletico Madrid after going 23 games unbeaten. This, do you think it'll be Arsenal winning Division 1, or do you think it'll be Liverpool?
I really want it to be Arsenal, but at this stage, it can as well be Liverpool because after the last game and seeing what happened with Arsenal against Atletico, I think if UC panicked and tried to tweak the formation to not lose, I think that might affect him. And instead of winning his next game, he might actually get a draw. And if Liverpool wins their next game, then I think that's the end for Arsenal. So it is very very open at this point. It depends on the manager what they do. If they panic and rotate, it's not so. And the funny
Yeah.
thing is, across Division 1 to 3, we we still witnessed bottling jobs across Division 1 to 3 because Chelsea has been on top of Division 3 since
Yeah.
forever. And if they slip up in the next game, then they'll kiss the title goodbye. Same thing with Division 2. It has happened in Division 2 now. With you were third before, then Betis came up, and then now Betis is third, and I don't think Betis can win it again. So I think that can also happen in Division 1. So
Yeah. I think obviously Uche has he's got Flamengo tomorrow, which Flamengo are safe now. They are battling. They have an outside shot at the Champions Cup and coming fifth, though it's pretty slim. 35 points off Napoli, but they'll want to secure a top 9 finish and get a Challenge Cup spot. I think Philtop will be happy with that. And then on the final day, Uche has to go to play Barcelona. Now, this could go either way, and obviously it would have been great having Gide on the call here today. Now, obviously he's left mid-call, but Babajide has nothing to play for. But does he want to help? And this is going to be the case now. Does he want to help Fizz win a title, or is he going to go full strength? Or is he going to rotate and play the youngsters with nothing to play for, and potentially give Uche, because Uche's only ever won 2 trophies in 4.5 years, and one of them is a Connect Cup, so it's not recorded on the Game World. It's recorded externally on a Google document. He's won the Champions Cup with Arsenal, and he's won this season's EMG Cup. Before then, he was pretty much the bridesmaid of the Game World, coming second every year with Gladbach, and runners up all the time. So it's pretty big for Uche to get over the line and win the Division 1 title, because his squad is also aging a bit as well. So it's a case similar to PSG a couple of years ago when they won the title after a long time. It could potentially be the last dance, and before potential red arrows coming in the next couple of seasons. Liverpool, they face Dortmund tomorrow, which that should be 3 points. If that's not 3 points, Fizz will get taken the piss out of, and rightly so. And then on the final day, this is the one. Also, they could decide it. Liverpool host Wolves. Wolves have nothing to play for as well. Jabril openly openly has said he will not rotate his squad. Even with nothing to play for, he will go full out to stop Fizz winning the title potentially. He said that. Obviously, Wolves are secured. I think they can come fourth. They're third at the moment. They can come fourth, but they're in the Champions Cup. They can't win the title. They've got nothing to play for. But we are seeing sort of EMG politics of managers potentially playing their strongest teams or playing their rotated teams to get somebody to win a title that they would prefer. Because we all know if Fizz wins the title on Thursday, we will not hear the end of it. And the gloating will be non-stop. But if you're going to ask me who wins it, I'm going to say Uche. I think Fizz will drop points against Wolves. Wolves are a top side. Wolves are one of the best teams in this game world, and Fizz has the capability of dropping points.
I think Wolves will definitely give Liverpool a tough time. I know what Jibril is capable of, so yeah, there's no doubt about that. It will take masterclass from Fizz to beat Wolves.
Yeah. And I
know Wolves will not hand the title to Liverpool, so that is a challenge Fizz has to overcome.
And I think Arsenal will win. I think Arsenal will beat Flamengo. I think it'll be close. I expect Arsenal to beat Flamengo, and then if Liverpool don't beat Wolves on the final day, it's irrelevant then, because if they both win tomorrow, Uche will be on 58, Fizz will be on 56. Fizz doesn't even need Uche doesn't even need to win the final game of the season to win the title. I think tomorrow's games are more important than the final day. If they both win, or if they both win and Uche is still first heading into the final day, I'm going to say he's probably got a 60% chance of winning the title, because it's going to be based down to Jibril then to decide if Uche wins the title or not. Not Fizz. I think it will be down to whether Jibril beats Fizz or even prevents Fizz winning. Because if Fizz doesn't win on Thursday, Uche doesn't need to win. He can literally lose and he'll win the title by a point, or he can draw and it'll be 2 points. I'm going to say tomorrow's games are more important than the Sunday games, I think. If Arsenal beat Flamengo and Liverpool beat Dortmund, both should expect to beat those teams, but I think then it's likely going to be Arsenal. If Arsenal drop points again and have a bit of a hangover from a poor performance from Thursday continues tomorrow, I think it'll be Fizz's title, regardless. But if Arsenal wins, I think it will be likely his title.
Yeah, I think finger crossed. It is whatever happens. It has been a very, very great season in EMG overall. Actually, from Division 1 to Division 2, it has been an absolutely roller coaster. I think Division 1 has been the only division that has not seen change of leadership since Arsenal first started. But in the other divisions, it has been very close, and now Arsenal are at the risk of losing it, which can happen. So I know there will be a super bottle job at the end of the day. So we will see which one it is, if it is Chelsea or if it is Arsenal, because they have been they have been top of the league the longest. So I
Mm.
think on Thursday, then see what happens. Or whatever happens, I think everybody has been giving it their best this season. So even the relegation race has been tight overall.
Yeah,
So the great season we have
yeah,
this season, great. It's interesting.
yeah. I think, and I think also as well, the teams, especially at the higher end of the leagues, are going to be going in now, probably confident. With the Connect Cups, obviously, Maine are still going to be the ones to beat. We know that. And obviously, Al Shabab, Raja, Al Sad, Al Ali, especially. And there's obviously America's Malawi that could maybe sneak in. But I think EMG, especially Arsenal, Liverpool, Wolves, probably, and Atletico, I think, get into the top five. Even in the Challenge Cup, they'll be possible favourites. But if they get in the top five, they'll have all good hopes and good chances of winning the Champions Cup. We have one question. I sort of left the questions a bit late, and it's actually about Division 2. What makes Division 2 the hardest division in EMG? Is the question.
What makes Division Two the hardest?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a while that I've actually participated in Division Two, to be honest, and I've always been keeping up with Division One and Division Three. But if I'm to say, I think the fact that the strongest teams in Division Three ends up promoting to Division Two, and the weakest sides in Division One got relegated to Division Two. Now that's like a melting pot because when you look at Division Two, the average rating gap is not too much like that. I think they are just closely knitted because we have teams that can potentially go to Division Three or potentially go to Division One. So it is a close call between them, and that is that is the that is the hard part because they are all almost on the same ranking. So it is a tight fight for them. Aside Benfica that has had a very good team for years and has still been in Division Two. I think the other teams in Division Two has always been closely knitted. So the brilliant ones go to Division One, while the strong teams for the teams from Division One got relegated and they have a strong team. The teams from Division Three comes in and it's like a melting pot. Uh, they try to get out. So I think that's it. The
I would add as
part.
well as someone who's only ever managed in Division 1 and Division 2. Division 1, there's a gap between the best teams and everyone else. And in
Yes,
Division 3, even though I've never managed in there is a gap also between,
yeah. I mean,
um, bottom teams
and the top teams.
and, yeah,
I think
you
in
look,
Division
I
Three,
mean,
you have the teams that are potentially going to go up in Division Three, and you have the teams that
mm,
are just dead teams that nobody wants to touch in Division Three, and you have teams
yeah,
that are trying to rebuild. You see, they have vision, they are doing something, and like in a few seasons when they get it right, they will go out of Division Three. So yeah, I think that's it. But in Division Two, the gap is close between top to bottom Division Two. So
yeah,
it takes excellence to go from Division Two to Division One. So, but
yeah.
the
In
gaps are
Division 2, there isn't Marseille's or Lille's, teams that either had so many managers because either they're not active enough and they lose their jobs or just move to other clubs, or Lille's where they've had quick success from older players. That manager's maybe left or moved to another club and they've just plummeted because it was only
and
short. A
then
bit like Villarreal now, actually, as well, because Villarreal were Division 3
shocking,
after
shocking.
I left them in 2021. up until last year, last 18 months, when they just shot up to Division 1, mainly based off signing older mid-table 88s, 89s, 90s. And obviously that's hit. They can't go any further with that, and because there's no youth there, they've plummeted down the leagues. And then obviously in Division 1, Liverpool, Atletico, Wolves, and Arsenal are a cut above everyone else at this present time, to be honest. And Barcelona as well. You look at Napoli, older side, Rennes in decline, PSG in decline, and manager not active. Man City sort of going through a long-term rebuild. The gap between the top 5 and everyone else is so big that if one of the teams that aren't Arsenal, Liverpool, Wolves, Barca, or Atletico come in the top 5, that's an outstanding season. Look, I mean, Napoli now are 5th. If they can secure 5th and get in the Champions Cup over Atletico Madrid, that's an outstanding season for them, for Bami. But Division 2, there is no gap. Realistically, from I'd probably say 8th place in Division 1 to 2nd place in Division 3. There isn't much of a gap, and people might listen to this think, well, there's 2 leagues difference, but in quality-wise, the gap isn't actually that big between, say, 7th or 8th in Division 1 to the 2nd, 3rd in Division 3. And obviously that rest of that then is pretty much Division 2, which is why it's so tight. You see former Division 1 teams like Real, down, obviously are in Division 2. But also as well, you've had teams who have come up through from Division 3, long-term manager builds, or they've had managers who've been successful, moved on, taken advantage of the concern rules, as you do in Division 3. But the likes of Lyon, former Division 3 team, Everton, former Division 3 team, Betis have been former Division 1 team early years, but mainly been Division 3 the last couple of years up until recently. Benfica are the only exception. Bilbao, Division 3 team. Atalanta, Division 3 team. Porto, always in Division 2, like Benfica. Inter, yo-yo between Division 1 and 2, and I think it's sort of suffering a little bit now. Sociedad, realistically, a yo-yo between Division 1 and 2. I know they had a spell in Division 3 for a bit when Dale wasn't so active. But they're a Division 1 or Division 2 team under a chairman, Viltop or Dale. Villa, in decline. Villa probably should be higher up. And I'm not saying that as a former Villa boss, but I think poor management since I left has probably meant that they are probably going to go down in the next couple of seasons unless Davian stops making stupid deals.
If they go down the season, I think they have a fun to come back up.
Yeah, I think they'll come back up, but I think a club like that probably should be competing higher up. And obviously, you look at the bottom 3. Two of them are Division 1 teams that either went for short-term success or they've had long-term declines. Mönchengladbach about 5 seasons ago were under Uche come second in Division 1. Uche leaves to go to Arsenal. Uche is an older manager. He will go for older players. But this is the downsides of it then, is after effect. And obviously Gladbach probably are going to be going down to Division 3 and then potentially could be stuck up towards potentially the bottom of Division 3, maybe like Lille have been the last couple this season, and Leicester, where they are in that either in that tier where what I call the shitters tier, where they're either clubs that are just nobody wants to manage, or everyone who comes in from Division 4 wants to avoid, or they're just clubs that are always at the bottom of Division 3. Or either that, or they're just so they've been so badly run over a long period of time that they're not going to be competitive for a long time. And then Bayern have overachieved. So yeah, I think the reason why Division 2 is so tight is just because there's probably about 24, 25 teams in this game world which are very close to each other. And then there's a group at the top which are a cut above the rest, and there's a group at the bottom which struggle in Division 4. If I'm to be brutally honest, or even EMG Africa, where there's no quality. Okay, right. I think that wraps it up. So yeah, we'll do another one of these now, probably in the next 2 weeks. Get a season preview, or season review actually, as well as a season preview coming up for the new season, which actually going to start in about 3 weeks. So yeah, we'll get that sorted. So we'll speak to you soon.